Hi, I'm Anita Sarma, and I'm presenting my team's work on engineering gender inclusivity into software, experiences from 10 teams. First question is, how does gender and software relate? The answer is, most software has gender bias bugs. Where are they? In the very software you create and the tools you use to do it. This is data from 17 teams that evaluated the software product. And as the blue bars indicate, there were 12% to 100%. Every team that evaluated the product found inclusivity issues. The question is then, does it matter? Yes, because it is a cognitive tax that is paid every time an individual faces one of these bugs. So what can you do about it? Let me talk to you about a method called GenderMag. It helps you evaluate your software to find and fix gender inclusivity bugs. It uses personas. It has 4 personas. On one end of the spectrum is Abby, and the other is Tim. And these personas are representative of a range of users of your software from the perspective of 5 cognitive facets. For example, a cognitive facet about learning style would be Abby's, who like to learn through process-oriented mechanism, whereas the Tims like to learn by tinkering around. We chose these 5 facets because empirical studies have shown that individual differences in how people problem solve tend to cluster by gender. Here is an example from one user study where oranges show women and green represent men. This was a study that had only 2 genders. And as you can see from the distribution, more women in this study tended to be Abby-like problem-solving styles, whereas more men tended to have Tim-like problem-solving styles. And if you can see from the distribution, if the tools are created by Tims for the Tims, it leaves behind the Abbies. And because more women showed Abby-like problem-solving styles, this becomes a gender inclusivity problem. So in GenderMag, teams walk through the user interface to see how these personas might carry out functionality, and if they face a problem because of these 5 facets, it's an inclusivity bug. GenderMag has been shown to help improve inclusivity. Here is an example from Microsoft. It's a CHI 2019 paper, where in a user study, women tended to have failures at about half or double the rate that men did. Then they ran a GenderMag study and fixed those inclusivity issues they found. The post-fix shows that the new tool was better for both men and women, and more importantly, the gender gap completely disappeared. So this shows that GenderMag helps, but how can you systematize use of GenderMag in your software teams? Through action research, we collaborated with 10 teams. 5 of them were academic IT and 5 from industry. We worked with them ranging from like 5 months to 3.5 years, collecting data throughout the time, GenderMag sessions, interviews, design meeting, and so on. From there, we extracted practices that teams used and the pitfalls they faced, categorized into 3 types. Minimizing cost. This included 3 practices and 2 pitfalls. I'm going to talk about abstracting beyond. GenderMag, just like testing, is very concrete. You have concrete inputs and concrete outputs. In this practice, teams were able to take this concrete output from one session and apply it to entire UI patterns, enabling the reuse of the finding and the fixes. This is data from Team C that used dashboards for their evaluation. And as participant 3 from Team C says, it's not just for one dashboard, even though we tackled just one. It's a good starting point for all dashboards. However, care should be taken that the UI that is being actually evaluated is something that is not a proxy for real, because sometimes what that happens is In the real environment, there might be some features or tabs that might not exist. So when choosing which UI pattern to actually evaluate that translates, you have to take care. This is from one of the pitfalls. Maximizing benefit. Let's talk about calculating bias. In calculating bias, what the teams do is at the end of the session, they just tally up how many bugs they found. So 46%, nothing. How many of them were just usability bugs? 3% in this case. And how many were inclusivity bugs? 51%. This debriefing and calculating the bias gives a very compelling picture because it helps the team see the big picture. Team C here again is, oh, Abby violated a lot of our assumptions around our technology. It also helped generate more thoughtful discussions. For example, a participant said, my personality falls somewhere between Abby and Tim, like this is how I would work. It also helped jumpstart fixes around the facets. Team TW says, I think a lot of the failings that they found in this evaluation, we assumed users will explore the system. They expected people to tinker around. Beyond the session, let's talk about the facet survey. This was a practice created by one of the teams, and even within the end of this study period, 4 other teams had started using it, and now even more researchers are using. This is basically a set of questionnaire that individuals can fill out, and from the responses, we can figure out for each problem-solving style, are they Abby's or are they Tim's? Using this facet survey, teams recruited participants for user studies. So now they no longer only had gender diversity, but also cognitive style diversity in the user study population. It also helped them analyze the lab study data, as well as measure the effectiveness of the fixes by looking at facet by facet. In conclusion, past research, some from our team, some from others, have shown that GenderMag improves inclusivity. This paper brings up 9 practices to help with adoption and 2 pitfalls to guard against. Perhaps the central messages behind this team's experiences is that suspecting your software of gender bias and wanting to fix it is all well and good, but actually integrating a systematic process can make all the difference. And with resources and follow-up, you can download the kit and find out more about gendermag.org in these resources. Thank you.